Harihi Om. Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so let's go back and see where are we. Page 33, the Vikarnas and the lessons. So the first Vikarna was every living entity is Godhead's pars and parcel, and it is everyone's duty to cooperate with him by performing transcendental loving service. And now Vikarna 2, the current one. Good work, salvation by knowledge, or perfection by mystic powers are all subordinate to the transcendental loving service of Godhead. So the first Vikarna says that we are all servants of God and we have to cooperate with Him through transcendental loving service. And the second Vikarna makes sure that we don't misunderstand this statement, because you may say, well, I'm going to cooperate with the Lord by good work, by salvation, by acquiring knowledge in order to attain salvation, or I will perfect my mystic yoga practice and I will attain mystic powers. So all these are not the ways, not the methods, not the avidya, because this is the avidya part, right? These are not the avidya to attain the Lord. They can be dovetailed to some extent, but they are not the process itself. And not only that, but pure devotional service means anukulasa vajnam, pratikulasa sankopam. You have to reject all processes and all philosophical concepts which are opposing bhakti, pure bhakti. So all of these can be obstacles. Karma, jnana, and yoga can be they are. Attachment to them is they are obstacles on the path of pure bhakti. So then we are right now at the end of Adhikarana 11. No, lesson 11. Everyone, be one of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or even less than a Shudra, must cooperate in the transcendental loving service of Godhead. And now we start with lesson 12. Salvation is not attained simply by dry speculative adventures, but only by the service of the Lord. This reminds me about Krishna says in Gita that I'm the adventurer. But here it says by dry speculative adventures. What does it mean? It means that people like to speculate. For them, this is funny life. There are people who just like to come up with so many ideas about life. But as somebody pointed out, there are innumerable, almost innumerable ways by which you can explain the world, but they are only very limited methods by which you can make your life worthwhile. In other words, there are only limited ways by which everything can work. You can speculate that I just sit at home, watch TV, and then I'll become the greatest sense enjoyer. But it doesn't work this way. There are some certain rules, Krishna's rules. So salvation is not attained simply by dry speculative adventures because they are on the mental platform. That means since God is adokshaya, is transcendental, it cannot be attained by mental speculation. 14:22-24. O son of Pandava, he who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion, when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active, who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So footnote 19. These verses describe the symptoms of a citta pragya, one above the modes of nature. You remember in the second chapter, Arjuna asked this question. What are the symptoms of somebody who is above the modes, who is established in transcendence? Citta pragya. And Krishna answers, the characteristics to be recognized within oneself are described in verse 22. So the first characteristics, the first few of them. And then the external characteristics visible by others are described in verses 23 to 24. So that means the first ones, people cannot tell. But you know, if you are sincere, honest, you can observe what's happening. The people will know. You can hide. But the rest of them are visible. So one who does not hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they're present or long for them when they disappear. What is the meaning of this? This
inner part. This inner part.
Yes. Yes, this is how he can tell whether he's citta pragya or not.
Illumination is more of goodness, attachment, passion, delusion, ignorance.
Yes, very good. So why he doesn't hate delusion? And why he doesn't long for illumination when it is not present? Now, normally, if you feel you in the mode of ignorance, you hate it. I mean, if you are a normal person, you have a little bit of transcendental knowledge, you know, I'm in the mode of ignorance right now. I have, the mind is very slow and sluggish, and you don't understand, you bewildered, you don't know what's going on, you're sleepy, so you hate this normally. And you want to be, your consciousness to be elevated to the mode of goodness. So you long for illumination, right? So this guy, he doesn't. Why? He doesn't hate the mode of ignorance, and he doesn't appreciate so much the mode of goodness. Remember, all the way, so he feels the symptoms of this goodness. So he feels the absence, or he's conscious, he's aware of the absence or of the presence of the symptoms of the three modes. And this person, for him, Krishna says that such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So how do you transcend the modes of nature while you experience the effects of the modes of nature? Because he doesn't hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they are present. That means sometimes they're present, or long for them when they disappear. That means sometimes illumination disappears. He's not only in the goodness, he's going through the motions. Isn't it? Liberation means, isn't the liberated person free of all the effects of the goodness? Yeah.
He's not attached to the effects, but doesn't mean that they don't happen.
Okay, nice. So, yes, you want to say something? they're happening, and you can feel it. But this Sthita-pragya person, he doesn't have anything to gain or to lose by these effects. In other words, he's detached from them. So he can, just like in other places, in Gita, Krishna says, he only observes how the senses are coming in contact with the sense objects. Or the yogi acts only with the motive of purification. So he doesn't identify with the constant fight for supremacy among the three beings. When he's in the mode of goodness, he doesn't identify with it. And then when this naturally goes to passion, he observes, but he's not influenced. He feels the influence in a sense. It's like somebody's knocking on the door, but you don't open. Right? You don't have to. Why you have to open to some crazy person to enter in your house? Well, he sees, he hears, but he keeps his consciousness transcendental. Yes.
Just regarding this, for example, if there are some very advanced devotees like spiritual masters, and they might have some health problems, and this is affecting even like how they speak, or sometimes some words may be missing, or saying something.
Well, let's take Srila Prabhupada as an example, the perfect example. He was having, towards the end of his presence, was having a very serious condition, health issues. He was leaving his body. Still, you can see that his consciousness was not affected because he was meditating on Bhagavatam and translating Bhagavatam. His thinking was clear. He was Krishna conscious, perfect Krishna conscious. So although he was feeling, in a sense, these disturbances from the body, he was still Krishna conscious. That's what it means. Otherwise, the other process, the mechanical yoga process, counts on performing all these types of yoga asanas, eating less, breathing exercises, so that it mitigates to the minimum the troubles, disturbances that come from the body. And when you are just able to sit peacefully for hours and hours in this yoga asana, then on this basis, mechanically your mind can become peaceful. So they're trying to mitigate the disturbances mechanically by following this mechanical process. The devotees are trying to acquire such a strong spiritual taste that these disturbances, even when they appear, they are not interfering with their Krishna consciousness. So it's a different process. Of course, the devotees also, they try to eat healthy, try to follow regulated lifestyle, which is the most important factor for having good health. Okay, so he doesn't hate illumination, attachment, and delusion when they're present. In other words, he's not disturbed. And he doesn't long for them when they disappear. Who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of material qualities. So that's the same thing, unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities. So Sukha Dukkha's Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Śāstra-cakṣuṣā. The combinations of the gunas will keep rotating, they will keep changing. It's an unending cycle in the material world, and we're supposed to just remain undisturbed, fixed in Krishna. Just like the winter and summer season are changing, happiness and distress come and go. There is this song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur who was saying that. Oh no, this was Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary to Bhagavad-gītā 241, which Srila Prabhupada highlighted as a very influential commentary in his own life. So there, and I think Bhaktivinoda Thakur also. They stated that my happiness, my only happiness is the happiness of my spiritual master, and whether I'm happy or unhappy, I don't care. I just follow my dream. So being unhappy or being in delusion is also not shouldn't be cause for despondence or depression. Because I'm not this unhappy, depressed person. Right? I'm something else. Of course, it's easier to say than to do. But at least theoretically, we should know what's this position. Krishna says in 11th canto, my devotee should never be depressed or morose, even if he is unable to follow the principles. But he should continue full enthusiasm. Okay, unwavering and undisturbed to all these reactions, the material qualities, just like in Krishna book, in Bhagavatam, often we hear these verses. Somebody is in a difficult situation and somebody else, yes.
So here starts this external symptom.
Yeah, we have to see.
Because I'm just looking on
Yeah.
the śloka, which is also together for the verses.
Yeah. We have to see the Sanskrit and try to figure it out where it ends and where it starts. Maybe you take a look and tell us.
So that's not right. How to develop, not stopping development design.
And then 23 starts from remaining neutral. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so back to the point I wanted to make. We hear often in Bhagavatam somebody is in difficult situation, he's very upset, and then somebody else, great devotee, tells him, "You see, just everybody's suffering." For example, I remember when Rukmi was very disappointed, when Shishupala, who was supposed to marry Rukmi, Shishupala, right? Shishupala was very disappointed that he couldn't marry Rukmini, and Krishna kidnapped him. And then the other kings, they came to him and they said, well, look, Shishupala, everybody is suffering and enjoying the reactions of his own deeds. This is throughout the whole Bhagavatam. Demons and devotees, pure devotees, they all repeat the very same point. Hiranyakashipu also, when he was Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha, when Bhagavatam was calling him Shri Hiranyakashipu Vacha, when he was consoling his relatives, I think he made the same point. These are the standard points everybody needs. This is the standard Vedanta philosophy. So then, unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities. It is what has to happen, will happen. Okay, remain. So here we start with the characteristics to be recognized, the external characteristic visible by others. Okay, so let's see for those. Remaining neutral and transcendental. You can see this in people when they're neutral. Something happens to them. Kadama Maharaj understood that he has 3 months more. He's neutral and transcendental. He was ecstatic actually. He was even beyond this. So we can see, knowing that the modes alone are active. Yes. Who is situated in the self in regards to like happiness and stress. Okay. Happiness and stress are the same. Because he's situated in the self, that means he's aware of his spiritual nature, which is eternal and blissful. Yes.
Yes, somebody does not manifest this. It is disturbed, but inside he is disturbed. So.
Well, at least something. At least he has enough self-control not to go around and lament and cry and make everybody else miserable. But at least we have to become discreet. And maybe he's not sorted out in his Krishna consciousness, but he will become. So at least he keeps it. But then he has to keep also inside when he's very elated, very happy about something. It's another annoyance. You know, people get some material happiness and they go around and. I mean, we're not annoyed. It's superficial. It changes very quickly. Who is situated in a certain God's life, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone, and a piece of gold. So I guess this also Rajas, Tamas Rajas and Sattva. With an equal eye, Pandita Samadashina, who is equal toward the desirable and the undesirable. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. So what is this equanimity? What does it mean to be equal toward the desirable and the undesirable? Can we give explanation or an example? How do you understand? First of all, what is desirable and undesirable in this context?
To my mind, what is the definition of this?
Which one?
What is the definition? Like the first question of this two.
Yeah. What is desirable and undesirable? Obviously, judging by the context of these verses, desirable and undesirable should refer to materially desirable and undesirable situations. You have a very comfortable situation, something happens, you acquire riches and influence and followers. Then undesirable, you lose all this. So being equal toward desirable and undesirable, what does it mean?
Means he doesn't say frustrate if he lost something, if he's not gained something.
Okay. So it's his Nashoshatina Kamshati.
Yeah.
So okay, and then what? He's just aloof, detached. But is there something else? What does he do? Okay, he's not disturbed, he's not ecstatic, enthusiastic. But then what does he? What is he doing then? He's using this mental equilibrium, equanimity, to be engaged, fully engaged in devotion service. That's the whole. Because these things are problems. Happiness and distress, Krishna calls them Ichadvesha, Samutana. Everyone is born into delusion in this material world, bewildered by the duality itself, desirable and undesirable, Ichadvesha, desire and hate. So what is the problem with this? The problem is that they are so overwhelming that they interfere with our devotion service. That's the problem. Not the problem that you are happy or unhappy. The problem is that because of this, you cannot perform your duty. So, if somebody is equipoised when he's facing the desirable and undesirable, then he can easily focus his mind on Krishna. There will be no disturbance. That's the whole point.
Can you repeat what means desirable and undesirable?
Desirable and undesirable means a comfortable material situation. You acquire some.
He wants some comfortable material situation.
Yes, something that will enhance his sense gratification, basically. Money, followers, influence, social prestige. And undesirable means that you don't have these things. They're taken away.
For example, if someone lost his position, he rejects devotional service, for example, yes?
Yes.
Or someone cannot be temple president, he doesn't want to do service. Only like this service I can do. If I do temple president, then I can do. Otherwise,
Yes. Yeah, that's good. That's a good example. And we see the example of Vidura. Vidura was kicked out of the palace. And he not only didn't protest or anything, he welcomed it. He thought, this is good for me. Now I can finally focus on direct devotion service. He went on pilgrimage. Or Maharaja Parikshit, he was cursed to die in 7 days, and he thought this is good. He said these people. Therefore, they are on the page of Bhagavad-gītā. So this is a good example. Okay. One attains salvation by being conscious of Krishna. When a living entity stays in this material world, embodied by the material body, it is to be understood that he is under the control of one of the three modes of material nature. When we embody it in the material body is controlled by the modes. So until we identify with the material body, we will be under the control of the modes. We, the soul. Not really, but through false identification. When he's actually out of the body, then he's out of the clutches of the material modes of nature. But as long as he's not out of the material body, he should be neutral. Okay, so this is the thing. Just like Krishna says in second chapter, 71, I think, or 70. Apurya mana machala pratishtam samudra mapa pravishanti yatra tadvat kamayam pravishanti sarve sashantim apnuti na kama kama. Only the person who is undisturbed by the constant flow of desires in his mind, just like the ocean is never disturbed by the rivers that they constantly pour water, this person can attain peace. Not the person who is mad after fulfilling his desire. So he's neutral. He sees the opportunity for sanctification. It's right there. He's capable of doing it. He even feels the desire sometimes arising, but he's neutral. He understands that this is just first of all, it's not my duty. This is this attractive person passing by, and the body, my body is attracted to this body, but I'm not the body. And it's not my duty to interact with this person on this level. Body can do body things, but I'm the soul. I'm the body. I have my things to do. And the body, like one friend who took sannyas, so it's not that I didn't have feelings for my wife. I did, but I thought, the hell with my feelings. Feelings, material things belong to the material body, but I'm different. So this is very high level, but it's liberation. So that's what we are discussing here. But as long as he's not out of the material body, he should be neutral. He should engage himself in the devotion service of the Lord, so that his identity with the material body will automatically be forgotten. So by engagement in bhakti, we forget that we are the body. You can feel it sometimes when there's a very nice, blissful festival. We are fasting sometimes, and therefore the festivals, the Ekadashi days, are very good because they are causing us to attain exactly this level, that we forget that we're the material body. Just for certain period, we forget that I'm the body. Why? Because we are fasting. Let's say we're not eating and we're still absorbed in Krishna. We don't think about. Sometimes we don't think about eating the whole day. We forget. Of course, sometimes we don't forget. But sometimes it happens that we forget. I'll tell you, this one devotee, he was telling me how he was somewhere in India and there was a big festival. And after the whole day of fasting and service, he was exhausted at night when the night came. And at night, around 6, 7, started kirtan. The devotee started to make kirtan. And then he thought, that's just too much. I haven't taken rest. I haven't eaten the whole day. And now we're starting kirtan. And he told us, like, 4 or 5 hours later, I came back to my senses, in a sense, the material awareness that I have material body. So these 3 or 4 hours just went on like this. So he forgot that he's the body. That's the thing. When we are absorbed in devotional service, we forget that we are the body. And not only this, but we will remember which spiritual body we are. We will remember gradually what is our position. Yes.
Is it a problem if we, let's say, there is a festival and we are doing service all day, and the next day the body will get, its due reactions. We may miss, let's say, morning program.
Can happen. It happens regularly to me, at least on Janmashtami, because we have to. Normally, we have to start serving around 12, and the guests are eating around 1 hour at least. Then we eating at the end, and then it becomes like 2 to 30. Then we go to bed around this time. We have to clean out the kitchen. That's around 3 o'clock, so we don't wake up from Mangal early. It happens, but therefore the festivals are meant to be. It's a nitya and naimitika. A nitya, that means every day you have duty, and naimitika, occasional festivals. They're not every day, so you take up the level of devotion service that you can maintain every day. Every day I can chant 16 rounds, for example, follow the 4 regs and perform certain amount of service. But from time to time, during the festivals, I do something extra. But this is extra. And if the body makes very tired, that's okay. But it's blissful because it's tired from devotion service. It's not tired from sanctification, which is miserable. Okay? Don't worry. Once Kadam was joking with us, we were in Amsterdam, and this was in the early years of the Queen's Day. I don't know. It was Queen's Day before, and then it became King's Day because the Queen abdicated or something. And then there was a king. So this is the biggest Harinam, one of the biggest Harinams in Europe, maybe the biggest. But in the beginning, it was not so big. It was like maybe 40, 50 devotees. Then later on, it became like 300 devotees. But in the beginning, I remember it was like 20, 25 in the very beginning. And then 1, 2 years later, Maharaj invited some devotees from Czech Republic. They came. So because at that time we were living in Bangladesh, so we would come regularly. And then one day we had the Queen's Day Harinam, and it is long Harinam. It is 8 hours because first you do the 3 or 4 hours, and then the devotees take prasadam, and then there is second shift again 2 hours. And Maharaj is leaving all the way, so we were very exhausted at the end of the day. And then Maharaj was joking the next morning. He gave class and he said, "These Hare Krishnas, they're too much. After Queen's Day, Harinam, still in the 4:30 in the morning there, it's just too much. No break." course, he was there. But once he said, yeah, there are different types of determination to perform devotional service. There is the determination in the mode of passion. I will drag my skeleton to Mangalarati. I will. And it will dance. It will. My skeleton will dance on Mangalarati. This is more Kshatriya type. He explained. And then you have Sati, which is just because of attachment. It's more mellow. It's not so hard. Okay. So where are we? When one is conscious of the material body, he acts only for sense gratification. But when one transfers the consciousness to Krishna, sense gratification automatically stops. So if we are conscious, I am the body, I am the body, I am the body, I am the senses, I am the mind, then naturally we will look for sense gratification because we are the senses, we are the mind. Yes.
Regarding how to say this tolerance, if we go into the service with some desire for sense gratification also, that I will get something from this service, can this happen that this tolerance then is less because of that?
Yes, it's because then our conscience will be slightly, or to a bigger extent, polluted by the lower modes. Will be Mishra, Karma Mishra Bhaktas, but it will be Mishra to certain different extents. So when Rajaguna is present, then the symptoms are very strong desire for sense gratification and frustration when you cannot get it. So it will be something. Frustration.
Because I have this experience with some devotees I was interacting. They went into service and then some difficulties came.
And they're like,
yeah, I will not do service anymore, and like this, if this happen again, and like this. So can we say that?
Yeah, like in Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna explains what is the reason for anger. It's a lust. Kamesha, Kravesha, Rajaguna, Samudibha. Another place Krishna explains it. This is the eternal enemy, lust, which later transforms into wrath, into anger. It's the all-devouring enemy. So when there is lust, then there will be frustration. But even in this case, these devotees, we will be purified if we keep performing bhakti. Because what to do? We have this, so what to do? We have to perform devotional service nonetheless. You cannot just say, no, I'm not qualified, I am material motives, so I will not perform devotional service. Then what is your shelter? What are you going to do? It happens. You enter the shower, and the devotees are kind, even if this happens to us. And I remember once I was driving the Sankirtan wheel. I was responsible for the Sankirtan car. So this Sankirtan car was it was a Russian car. I was braking all the time. And it was braking this, that, and I remember one time when I realized that another thing is broken. I was just getting up. It just exploded. Like I slammed the door of the car and expressed very graphically my dissatisfaction. And the senior devotees were there. They saw this and they were like, "What's the big deal? That's what it is." They were very, very tolerant and very compassionate. And Krishna says in Gita, no, in Bhagavatam, Jayamai Hare Dharma Kalpate Nipalaya Chittataya Samviravtasya Bhayadar Viva Sattama. In a difficult situation, in a fearful situation, people, Krishna tells Uddhava, people usually become very afraid, very scared, and they start to lament, which doesn't change the situation at all. Such useless emotions don't change the situation at all. But activities offered to me, even if they externally seem to be completely useless, amount to the actual goal of religion, Dharma. So in such situations, just chant Hare Krishna. Don't take it too seriously. At the same time, we have to be aware that we have this contamination. Yes. Yes.
If you are responsible for someone who is doing service in position of authority, and that person comes with these symptoms, so how we can help him or deal with that.
Depends how close are you to him. If he's just official, okay, you're the authority, but you're not really close to him, then it's one thing. But if you're actually like a good friend, then you can try to explain. First of all, try to explain what's happening. That's at least what I try to do, because it helps. The knowledge sheds light on the reality, so then you see. So you explain to him. Quote from Gita, from Prabhupada, and explain. So you are in this situation right now, and you're trying to attain this result, but because you're attached, you're in Rajaguna, you have this material motivation. Then, when you don't get the result according to your desire, then you get frustrated because you want the result for yourself. Therefore, you're frustrated. Something like this. Try to walk him through the situation. Explain. This happened because of this, and quote Shastra. And see how he reacts. But do this with sincere desire to help, not because you are annoyed, because you also get something to attain in this situation. He interfered with it by his stupid Rajaguna reactions. There should be genuine concern. You should feel this sympathy, affection, even for this person. Try your best to explain, and also give a good example. I believe in talking to people, explaining stuff, although it doesn't work always. That's my preference. And show also that you're not judging him in the sense that you don't think now that he's rascal number one, and you, because he did this, now you degrade him in your own mind. You put him in a, okay, now he's a useless guy. I don't. Now just support him also. Give him an opportunity to do again service like this, and try to be more supportive. When you see this, how the symptoms are coming, try to explain. Okay, now we're having again the same problem. Now, you remember what happened next time? You get frustrated and you start yelling, shouting, and what happened? Something like this.
For this, I think the closer relationship should be there.
I think that's the only thing that can work. Otherwise, you can have somebody officially that he will tell you what is the problem, what's wrong with you, but you won't take it to heart. That's my experience. It should come from somebody who actually is genuinely concerned, but not attached to you in the material sense, but just because attachment also doesn't work, material attachment. It should be in a detached way, but with genuine sympathy and spiritual desire, like your his well wisher. Okay, so then we are. One does not need this material body, and he does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. This is very interesting. We were speaking last time, when we hear our mind to encourage us to go for sense gratification, then we can actually remember this purport by Prabhupada. One that does not need to accept the dictations of the material body. Look, I don't need to accept your stupid ideas anymore. You, and we're talking to the mind. Because of you, I have been wandering throughout so many different species of life in this material universe, suffering untold miseries in all different types of bodies. And now you want me to follow you again? Follow your stupid ideas? and end up again in hell. So we are pushing back. He's pushing, the mind is pushing, he's pushing back. Cheer up, you rascal. So this is what maybe I told you before. Somebody asked Jayadrata, we have this tendency to control, it's nature. Krishna has it, so we have it also. So then control your mind and senses. Okay, so we push back. How does he become aloof? Okay, the qualities of the material modes in the body will act. But as spirit soul, the self is aloof from such activity. So the modes will act on the body. This is something that we don't understand often. We think that liberation means that we don't feel anything anymore. No, we will feel, but we won't be affected because we are self-realized. He's aloof from such activities. How does he become aloof? He does not desire to enjoy the body. This is karma, right? Nor does he desire to get out of it. This is jnana, yoga, all these words. They want to. So these are the two functions of the mind, actually. Sankalpa and vikalpa. Sankalpa means acceptance, and vikalpa rejection. So people who are too much under the influence of the rejection, they want to get out of the body. They want liberation. But still they will not surrender to Krishna. So they are still, Prabhupada says, the last snare of Maya.
So his Sankalpa and Vikalpa, we can shift it also from material level to spiritual level. Something favorable for bhakti.
Exactly. Yes. Then it is spiritualized. Anasaktasya Vishayan Yatartham Upayunchadaha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha Yuktavera. We accept everything in connection to Krishna. Yuktavera, that means we connect any material object to Krishna, but in the spirit of Vairagya. Not just Yukta. Devotees sometimes say Yukta Vairagya, and then actually they only mean Yukta. There's no Vairagya. Okay, if it's Yukta Vairagya, why you are attached to it's self-defeating? Why you always choose this type of objects? Why not some other type of object? If it's Vairagya, then okay, this can be also useful. So we should be honest with ourselves. Not cheating. Yes?
It started
Very good. Just like Brahma Samhita starts with Ishvara Paramakrishna, Satchitananda Vikrama, Viravikrama, Sarva Karma Karma. This is the beginning. And now everybody inside, all other statements of this book have to be in line with this initial statement because it sets the context. Krishna is discipline. You cannot contradict. This transcendentally situated, the devotee becomes automatically free. Automatically free because he is acting already as somebody who is free, because he's only engaged in bhakti. And before you know it, you become free. Mamcha yogi abhicharana bhakti venasevate sagunan samatiketam brahma mula kalpati. Somebody, this is the definition of, who is free in the glimpse. So if somebody is in bhakti and is not falling, doesn't fall down under any circumstance, is involved. You might not know it. So busy in bhakti that you don't know. You don't notice that you're there. But during this period of time, you are liberated. It's like Bhagavad-gītā said that. While discussing Bhagavatam, at least for this period, The conditioned souls are free of him. At least this 1 hour when you listen to Bhagavad-gītā, you may not think about it. Krishna consciousness is so simple. Such a devotee sees everything with an equal eye. He accepts things that are favorable to his deep Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, he has no necessity of anything material, either a stone or gold. He takes everyone as his dear friend, who helps him in his execution of Krishna consciousness. And he does not hate his so-called enemy. So, no hate in Krishna consciousness. And now this is very prominent in social media. People get hate by somebody. In Krishna consciousness, there is no hate. There is no envy. He takes everyone as his dear friend. That means sometimes we hear that there is no friends and enemies. And sometimes people take it in the personal way. Right? Like Prabhu, he says, I don't like this division, this dichotomy, this duality. Because they were teaching him about diplomatic behavior, about the duties of the king. And the king has friends, he has allies, and he has adversary. He has to think. The Prabhupada said, I don't, and he might have to think in this way, but if this is what he did, besides he knows that this is material duality. And Prabhupada says, I don't like this friend, any friend. And some devotees take it and say that it's impossible. There is no friends. They take it in the sense that there is no friends. To have a friend, to have friendship, it's mine. Even to think the word. But actually, what it means, everybody is a friend. Like here, he takes everyone as his dear friend. He helps him in his execution. Just that there are different types of souls, and some are capable of reciprocating with your friendship. They are able to cooperate with you in the relationship. Some are unable, and some are unique. It doesn't mean that they're enemies. You don't feel it. They may. He's equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level because he knows perfectly well that he has nothing to do with material existence. Therefore, you can see everything on an equal level. Because if you're materialist, then things are not equal. They have value. This phone doesn't cost us this other nice phone. Other phones better. This body is not so valuable as, so it's always valuation. But therefore, in such a political setup, all this is good or bad on the material platform forward. No, it's all bad. It's not good. So, principle. Because it's always material. Social and political issues do not affect him because he knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances. Okay, so this is good. Social and political issues do not affect him. So this is something to learn in a situation. Political crisis. He does not attempt anything for his own sake. He can attempt anything for Krishna. But for his personal self, he does not attempt anything. For his behavior, one becomes transcendental institute. Okay. So how we become transcendental situated? By working for Krishna. Thank you, please, Krishna. Actually, yeah, maybe I told this. Even one day, modern psychiatrists, they discovered that being miserable and thinking about yourself. These are basically the same thing. You speak words. So we shouldn't. For example, now if I'm talking in front of you, like if I become too self-conscious, then I cannot speak anymore because then I'll be very much aware of my own shortcomings as a speaker. Then I cannot do my job. In the same way, we should be thinking about something greater than us. And this is devotional service in Krishna. And in due course of time, while we perform our duty, then as a side product will become happy. Because it is the nature of bhakti. It's blissful. But if we think about ourselves, so I need this, this, and this is not going well, and I have this shortcoming, this bad quality. It is as much as we are self-centered, as much we are. Okay, lesson 13. Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is just like the sun. Therefore, one is at once liberated from the nescience of matter as soon as he surrenders to Sri Krishna. So here we're talking about there. These lessons, the different insights into Avideya. They're repeating the same thing basically, but they are showing us different aspects of the process of surrender. So, for example, good work salvation by knowledge of perfection. Okay. Mystic powers are all subordinate. So first of all, not to be distracted by these things. So this is one aspect. Then it's a long lesson. And then, what is the real knowledge of salvation? Again, it guards us against Maya, against impersonalism. What is the real knowledge of salvation? Not this imperfect, impersonal jnana. And then, everyone, no matter what kind of occupation he has, can attain the Lord and must cooperate with him in transcendental loving service. This is lesson 11. And then salvation is not attained simply again. So lesson 12 and lesson 10 are practically the same. Just different aspects. Salvation is not attained simply by dry speculative adventures, but only by the service of the Lord. And then 13. Okay, 10. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give that understanding by which they can continue. So, Krishna is just like the sun. So the only thing we have to do is just to come in contact with Krishna. That's all. Then Krishna is like the sun. He's just like the sun is Jyotirmaya. Abundance emanates abundance of light, of brilliance. The same way Krishna is Anandamaya. Mahaprabhu Nityananda, Premananda Sikhi, we are very unhappy in this struggle for existence in the material world. Very happy. But if we come in contact with Nityananda Prabhu, then we become happy. So this is the only thing we have to do. Nothing else is required. We complete the verse. So somebody wants to read this? That's it.
Those who are constantly devoted to service me with love, I give understanding by which they can come to me. If one is sincere and devoted, he will attain the Lord. The person may have a bona fide spiritual master and may be attached to spiritual organization, but if he is still not intelligent enough to make progress, then Krishna wouldn't gives him his instructions so that he may ultimately come to him without difficulty. The qualification is that the person always engages himself in Krishna consciousness and with love and devotion render all kinds of services. He should perform some sort of work for Krishna, and that work should be with love. If a devotee is not intelligent enough to make progress on the path of self-realization, but is sincere and devoted to the activities of devotional service, the Lord gives him a chance to make progress and ultimately attain to him. Not so Prabhupada writes in his purports to Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.17, Dhruva Maharaj was cognizant of the defective nature of his own devotional service. Your devotional service is without material form and is not covered by mental speculation or furtive activities. Your devotional service is therefore called ahaituki, unmotivated. Dhruva Maharaj knew that he had come to worship the Lord in devotional service with motive to get the kingdom of his father. Such an adulterated devotee can never see the Supreme Personality of God face to face. He therefore felt very grateful for the causeless mercy of the Lord.
This is what Krishna tells Nagini when he saw him, he heard his voice. He spoke to Nagini, not just small. He said, I'm very sorry that you will not see me anymore in this lifetime, because it's very difficult for those who are not completely pure to see me. But anyway, he spoke. But here also.
The Lord is so merciful that not only does he fulfill the desire of a devotee who is driven by ignorance and desires for material benefit, but he also gives such a devotee all protection, just as a cow gives milk to a newly born calf. In the Bhagavad-gītā it is said that the Lord gives intelligence to the constantly engaged devotee so that he may gradually approach the Lord without difficulty. The devotee must be very sincere in his devotional service. Then also there may be many things wrong on the devotee's part. Krishna will guide him and gradually elevate him to the highest position of devotional service.
Right. So, although we have material desires, Krishna will give us his mercy. And we just have to be like newly born cow. Okay? That means completely dedicated and faithful to our mother. The cow is naturally like this. Okay?
Continue.
Mm-hmm.
10:11. To show them special mercy dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. The Lord helps his devotees to attain him. A Mayavadi philosopher thinks that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in poor devotional service, even thought they be without sufficient education and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still helped by the Supreme God, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the Supreme Truth, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of God, simply by speculating, for the Supreme Truth is so great it is not possible to understand him or to achieve him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the Supreme Truth, he will never understand Krishna or the Supreme Truth. Only by devotional service of the Supreme Truth, Krishna, pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with the presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is the special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Footnote 21. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport to Śrīmad Bhagavatam 754 that in the Vedas it is said, Yasmin Vijnati Samam Evam Vijnatam Bhavati. If one properly understands God, he can understand any subject matter very nicely. Sometimes we have to challenge and beat scientists and philosophers, but by the grace of Krishna we emerge successful. It is impossible, practically speaking, for ordinary men to challenge scientists or philosophers concerning genuine knowledge, but the devotee can challenge them because the best of everything is known to the devotee by the grace of Krishna. Confronting Bhagavad-gītā 10:11. Krishna, who is situated in the core of everyone's heart as a super soul, dissipate all the ignorance from the heart of the devotee. As a special favor, he enlightens the devotee with all knowledge by putting before him the torch of light.
And breathing?
Out of his causeless mercy, the Lord desired to avoid the soul the greatest boon in the form of pure devotional service. One should reciprocate with the Lord with the same pure intention, guided solely by the desire to please Him by rendering loving service.
So Krishna is very completely selflessly serving us, and we should also reciprocate in the same way. Otherwise, there will be flaw in the relationship. Krishna is pure devotee of his devotees, but we are impure devotees of Krishna. So then, naturally, there will be this balance. Therefore, he is encouraging us to just surrender to him in the same way as he surrendered to us, selflessly. And then we can become really very, very close friends. Otherwise, there will be always some shadow, some dark. Okay, so Piti, you want to read the lesson 14?
Lesson 14. One should not desire to cooperate with Godhead conditionally for some material gain. 17, 20 to 22. 17, 20. Charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place, and to avoid the person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. Charity should be given without any consideration of return. In the Vedic literature, charity given to a person engaged in spiritual activities is recommended. There is no recommendation for giving charity indiscriminately. Spiritual perfection is always a consideration. Therefore, charity is recommended to be given at the place of pilgrimage and at lunar or solar eclipses, or at the end of the month, or to a qualified Brahmana or a Vaishnava devotee, or in temples. Such charity should be given without any consideration of return. So it means all cannot be fulfill all of them. So there are like options.
Yeah.
So
At least
anytime.
At least one of these are good times for chanting. But if you can combine some of them, even better. But not always possible. So please.
1721. But charity performed with the expectation of some return, or with a desire for fruitive results, or in a grudging mood, is said to be charity in the mode of passion. Charity given with desire for illumination is not recommended. Charity is sometimes performed for elevation to the heavenly kingdom, and sometimes with great trouble and with repentance afterwards. Why have I spent so much in this way? Charity is also sometimes given under some obligation at the request of a superior. These kinds of charity are said to be given in the mode of passion. There are many charitable foundations which offer their gifts to institutions where sense gratification goes on. Such charities are not recommended in the Vedic scripture. Only charity in the mode of goodness is recommended. 1722. and charity performed at an impure place at an improper time to unworthy persons or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. Charity given in ignorance is rejected. Quote, contributions for indulgence in intoxication and gambling are not encouraged here. That sort of contribution is in the mode of ignorance. Such charity is not beneficial, rather sinful persons are encouraged. Similarly, if a person gives charity to a suitable person, but without respect and without attention, that sort of charity is also said to be in the mode of ignorance.
Okay, and then Vritti.
Vritti, even when one approaches the Lord for material gain, the Lord mercifully reciprocates with him by purifying his desires.
Okay, so that's very important. Krishna doesn't become disappointed or frustrated when we approach him with material desire. It's cool. Lesson 15. Even if one appears to cooperate with God with condition for some material gain, Godhead not only satisfies one's material wants, but also gradually takes him to higher levels. 720. Those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires, surrender to demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations, worship according to their own natures. Those who approach the Lord are freed from all material desires. Those who are freed from all material contamination surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in the work of faith. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed off their nature, non-devotees. But even those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by this contamination, because approaching the right goal, they soon become free from all materials. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is pure devotee and is free from all material desires, or is full of material desires, or desires liberation from material, he should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva and worship him, as stated in the Bhagavatam. A person who has a broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Host. If one worships the Supreme Lord by the method explained above, he will attain the exalted level of devotion described in the next verse. So, you just have to draw the word and follow the instructions. 9:22. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, so they might carry what they lack in every day. By devotion, salvation becomes perfect in self-realization. One who is unable to live for a moment without Krishna consciousness cannot but think of Krishna 24 hours a day, being engaged in devotion service by hearing, chanting, remembering, opening prayers, worshiping, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, rendering other services, cultivating friendship, and surrendering fully to the Lord. Such activities are all auspicious and full of spiritual potency, which make the devotee perfect in self-realization, so that his only desire is to achieve the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a devotee undoubtedly approaches the Lord without difficulty. This is called yoga. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to his material condition of life. Kshema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga. And when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to the miserable condition of life. So this is yoga and kshema. These are the standard duties of the king, by the way. The king is supposed to protect the citizens by protecting what they have, the property. And he's supposed to make sure they get what they lack. If they need something more, he's supposed to do it. So Krishna is doing this. By yoga, Krishna helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness, and by Kshema, he protects him from falling down. Therefore, Krishna says, once you attain my abode, you never return. Janma karma chinay vidam, I don't relate to such high level of devotion service is attained only by the mercy of the devotees, hence the following of the karma. So we continue the next karma. Right? that everything is possible. All these nice things are possible by association. And then the last vikarma, we say again, well, the main state is actually Krishna. So although it's possible to what is then Krishna is the main. He's the main devotee too. He came as Shama Habani. Okay.
Yes, we're speaking about interpret scriptures, so how we should understand this verse.
Which one?
Because there is tendency in 922. Because there can be also tendency to see that how to say, to have this motivation that we go to Krishna to have this material, everything what we need, and like this, so
Yeah.
to not to be misused.
Yeah, therefore we have the commentaries. Sri Prabhupada makes sure that we understand it properly. And he always emphasizes that the goal is pure devotion, selfless service. And although it is possible to approach the Lord with material desires, it is not recommended. And Sri Prabhupada says, if we do that, we will feel sorry. Not because Krishna will punish us, but because we feel sorry that I approached my best friend with a filthy material desire. We feel disappointed. Krishna doesn't mind, but it will be felt by us. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Samvata Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanande.